XFL.
Cole Cubelic every week talking XFL here with us. Tex Morris, Edward Jones. Cole, we were talking Michael Jordan last segment. You've got great reference on this. We told the story, Cole was at SEC Media Days. They announced the SEC Media Days schedule. Ogeron first in line there, which we love over in Atlanta. But last year we were there for all 4 days. All 4 days, Cole had a fresh pair of J's on.
Yeah.
New pair of J's on, which I thought brought me to
like Miley Cyrus.
He's a sneakerhead. He loves obviously a good pair of shoes, but also his love for Michael Jordan. Cole, for me, Michael Jordan is the ultimate athlete. He's number one on the list, and we were telling a couple of Jordan trash talking stories last segment. For you, where does he sit in all-time athletes for just Cole's personal preference?
Oh man.
Or if he's not number one, who is?
No, I think he probably has to be number one because he was such a pioneer. I mean, you think about him moving over into the business world, and then obviously, you know, what he's done for just a generation of people like me who love sneakers, and he's got his own brand. It's not, he doesn't have a spin-off of a brand. I mean, it's the Jordan collection is his. It's not, I mean, obviously Nike creates it and manufactures it, but it's still his brand. And you know, when you think about sponsorships, whether it was Gatorade, whether it was Hanes, whatever it was, he completely changed the game for everybody. The way we consume sports, the way we view athletes, and really what athletes can become after they're done playing. So I think he has to be number one just because he did so many different things. Oh, and by the way, he's the greatest basketball player to ever live. So,
yeah, look, well, that's all well and good, but I think y'all meant that Jordan Ta'amu is the number one athlete to ever play sports, and that MJ's right behind him. I agree. The Battlehawks finally at home this weekend, bro. It's been a long time. Guess what? The entire lower bowl sold out, 27,000 strong.
I can't wait to be there. Molly McGrath, Tom Hart, Joey Galloway, and myself are going to be there. Like you said, we're talking about around 30,000 people, and apparently the general public has been asking them to open in that upper deck, and they're not going to do it.
Yeah.
They kind of want to jam them all in down low and make that a good atmosphere, and I think that's pretty cool. Now, I don't think it's cool that they're not going to allow more people to go if they want to, but I think this opens up a lot of different talking points. Probably number one that, people in St. Louis love football, want football.
Yep.
And I think there's a part of that fan base that has a chip on their shoulder, and they just want to be able to say, hey, you should have never left. We would still support our team. We supported the team when they were here, and we want to prove that. I think that's pretty cool. And by the way, the Battlehawks are playing pretty good football. Ta'amu, like you mentioned, playing pretty good football. That offensive line is playing pretty good ball. So this is a New York team that needs to bounce back. We all saw what happened with Matt McGloin last week. They got to figure some things out, obviously. But they got down early against DC, and it kind of spiraled out of control from there. But when you dive into the film, they didn't play terrible ball offensively. They had opportunities. They missed a few throws. They missed a few catches. They had a couple drops, but they ran the ball decently well. It wasn't just turning guys loose up front, McGloin getting blasted by pressures and different things like that. So I think they have a chance to sort of bounce back if they can tinker with the offense a little bit, but I think it's going to be a competitive game.
What was your first experience like working an XFL game? I mean, just seeing that product
well, I saw
up close.
Cole laid
It
out
was
prone.
I mean, that'll be the image that lives on forever.
Interviewing on the ground, full effort from Cole.
I had Landry Jones pregame, and I guess my first thought was I knew I'm going to get Landry Jones pregame, and we're kind of sitting there waiting on it. And then this official walks over and he says, Landry, you coming out for the ceremonial coin toss, which, as you know, there are no coin tosses in the XFL. The home team every week gets to choose. So I guess they just wanted to be a first game in LA, wanted to do sort of a ceremonial coin toss. He's like, oh, yeah, sure. And I'm thinking, we got like a minute and a half before we're on air, and now how are we going to do this? So I just walked with him, and I told him, I said, hey, if you're in the middle of this, I might just have to grab you real quick. He's like, no problem. So ended up getting it out of the way, and then we knocked the interview out. So that was kind of my first thought. And then,
I love it. So they have to be like their bosses are telling them they have to be uber media friendly.
I don't think they're telling them that they have to be, but they're encouraging it.
Okay.
And I think most guys in that league are intelligent enough to know that it's only going to help them. and that it can only help build their brand, and it's a way for them to get their faces out there and get a little bit of extra notoriety for playing in a league that obviously is not going to be anywhere near as big as the NFL right now. But think about with college football, we talk about name, image, and likeness, and we're kind of fighting for it, and the kids want it, and we think it would be good for them. This is essentially these guys in the XFL. This is their way to do that. This is their way to build their brand. This is their way to become more popular. If it's gaining more followers on Twitter or Instagram, or if it's getting a car dealer, or if you're getting a deal with Tex Morris, whatever it is, this is their way to do it. This is their way to get in front of the camera and show some personality. And I think most of them welcome it. Now, they don't welcome it after they throw a pick or after they fumble the football or give up a sack, but that's part of it.
So, Cole, I saw you.
What a pro.
Yeah, it was great. I saw you 4 a.m. You're watching film. You got notes on top of notes. You're breaking down everything. After week 1, there's a lot of conversation like, could LSU beat XFL teams, blah, blah. I don't know if you have to answer that, but in watching all this film, I feel like you can maybe give us a little bit of context here. In your view, how does the play in the XFL stack up with something like the SEC?
I don't know if I would put it on the SEC's level just yet, but I think it's pretty good ball. I think you're probably talking like high-level American Conference USA play right now.
Okay.
But keep in mind, these guys hadn't been together for 2 or 3 years or 4 years or 5 years. So, these coaching staffs hadn't been together that long. So I do think that it's going to take a little bit more time. We're 2 weeks into this thing. Guys haven't been on and they only had 3 full contact practices through training camp. So,
oh wow!
And even when we went and did the mock games in Houston, that wasn't tackling to the ground. That was thudding up. And so, I think the physical part is still going to take a little while for these guys to become acclimated to. But I'll say this: one thing that I've been really impressed with is the tackling. We visited with Hal Mummy before the game last week, and he said his biggest complaint about his offense was yak yards and lack of yak yards. He said, we did not break tackles. We did not find yards after the catch. That was a big problem for us. We've got to find a way to do it this week, and we got to find a way to do it moving forward. Now, obviously, that's a system where it's a lot of quick ball distribution, and you want to be able to find guys to take, quick, easy, high percentage throws and turn them into explosive plays. But I think the tackling's been good. The offensive lines have not been miserable by any stretch of the imagination. Most of them played pretty good. Like I said, New York's offensive line is playing better than people think when you really dive in and watch it. The Dallas offensive line played well last week. LA's offensive line really bounced back from week 1 to week 2 compared to how they played. So I think that was the portion of the AAF that when I put it on, I just said, this is terrible. This is not watchable, because when that group's just essentially acting as a turnstile, you're not going to get explosive plays down the field. The quarterback's not going to have time to get through his progressions. You're not going to get a lot going in the run game. So what do you have? Screens. Essentially, that's all you're running at that point in time is a bunch of screen plays. So I think the fact that the tackling's been pretty good and the offensive line play has been above average gives this league a chance to have pretty good ball. And we know there's talent at the skill positions. It's just going to be a matter of timing, rhythm, and those guys getting on the same page.
Cole, is P.J. Walker of the Houston Roughnecks the best player in the XFL right now?
He's got to be the story of the league so far. I don't know how he's not. No one had heard of this young man coming in. Everybody thought Connor Cook was going to be the guy on that team, and actually thought they were going to be pretty good because they had him. That's the guy that took his team to the college football playoff. So I think people had confidence in that. And now, P.J. Walker's running around looking like a baby Patrick Mahomes.
How about that sidearm touchdown, Cole?
Yeah,
I almost switched. Now, Rivers exposed me, but there's a Photoshop text out there where I almost switched to the Roughnecks just because of how impressive that sidearm touchdown was.
He's been dynamic. He delivers the ball down the field with accuracy. He's obviously mobile and can move around and give you some stuff in the run game. So he is the story of the league so far. If you're talking about an individual player, and I don't even think it's close. Cardale Jones has made a lot of noise, but we already knew who he was. We saw him in the college football playoff. We knew what kind of talent that he was going to be. Nobody knew who this young man was or what he was capable of, and he's kind of taken the league by storm. It's been pretty cool to watch.
Sunday afternoon, 2 o'clock in St. Louis. Cole will be on the broadcast with New York in town, taking on the Battlehawks. Who you got Saturday night, Wilder or Fury?
Oh, I'll go back and forth on this one, but I think I actually on the show yesterday said that I was taking Deontay Wilder, and then during the segment convinced myself to take Tyson Fury. Because I do think you're going to get a Tyson Fury that's in better shape. I mean, think about last time you're talking about a guy that had dropped close to 100 pounds. He hadn't had a legitimate tune-up fight. He was kind of sloppy. I think he's going to be better conditioned. I think he's going to be more prepared. And this is the biggest advantage that I can think of. Everybody goes in to fight Deontay Wilder. You know that there's one thing that you need to be concerned about, and that's that right hand, because it can end the fight at any moment. Everybody knows that. And whether you're going to go fight him, whether you're just watching him, whether you've already fought him. And that's where the advantage comes with Tyson Fury. He has taken that hit. He knows what that feels like. He knows what that is. And I mean, you guys, when you're competing, the unknown is what always sits there in the back of your mind.
Absolutely.
You know, when you're going up against a guy and you don't know what that bull rush is going to be like or how quick they're going to be with the swim move, until you get it, you don't understand it. Well, Tyson Fury's already gotten it. And on the flip side of that, I do understand that Deontay Wilder has seen Tyson Fury as well, but he's so unorthodox and so different. I don't know how accustomed you can become to fighting a guy like Tyson Fury. I mean, he'll turn and go left-handed. He's going to bob his head around. He's going to play different defense with his hands high, his hands low. He's going to do different things. So I think Tyson Fury will be smart enough to stay away from that right hand. He'll find a way to do some things to frustrate Deontay Wilder, and he'll find a way to win this fight on the scorecard.
Is Wilder is he a superstar in Alabama? I mean,
he should be a much bigger superstar than he is.
Yeah.
He's not anywhere near as big of a star as he should be. He doesn't get the local coverage that he should. I mean, he should be walking around here like he's Ed Orgeron in Baton Rouge, and it's just he's not.
Will he? So I read an article on ESPN this morning about that, and they're saying it's because he never had that great adversary. Well, he now has that in Fury. If he clearly wins that fight, do you think he goes over like in Tuscaloosa? Like, will he be beloved there now?
Well, he's over in Tuscaloosa. It's more it's the Birmingham market, and I don't know if this is a big enough boxing market. Now I'll say this. He's got the Alabama crowd. And when I say Alabama, I mean University of. Like, there's a lot of Alabama fans that now believe that they're longtime boxing fans. You know, they're similar to Atlanta Brave fans over here. Like, they all of a sudden think that they've been watching boxing forever, and they understand it, and they get it. And, you know, it's kind of like it's kind of like elite basketball players in this state. Like when we get a top 100 basketball player, like they think he's Kevin Garnett or Kobe Bryant or LeBron James. And I'm like, you guys realize there's 80 other kids that are better than this guy. Just because he's the number one player in Alabama doesn't mean that he's going to be what Zion was at Duke. Oh, no. He's the best we've ever seen in the state. He's the best that ever come through. I'm like, you guys know Charles Barkley played here, right? He's the top 50 player all time in NBA history. Like, there are certain things in this state that we just cannot understand on a national scale, and I think boxing's one of them. If you polled, I would say 1 out of 10 residents in Alabama that knew anything about boxing and said, is Deontay Wilder the greatest heavyweight in history, they would all say yes.
Yeah.
Just because that's all they know. That's the only thing that they know about heavyweight boxing.
Cole,
So, yes,
Cole, have a great weekend.
Latched on very quickly.
Have a great weekend and a great call Sunday.
Hey, you guys always appreciate my guy Tex Morris from Edward Jones hooking me up and having me on here to talk XFL with you guys every week, and look forward to doing it next week as well.
Hey, go Hawks. Go Hawks.
We'll close it out next.